Welcome everyone to Colson River Retreat. Today we're going to do a hive inspection. Do not try to adjust your audio as I clearly forgot to turn the microphone receiver on and it was plugged into the GoPro, therefore it did not record any audio. I have all of this brilliant exposition that you're unfortunately not going to be able to hear, but I will try to take some time and give you a little bit of idea of what we're doing. This is our first hive inspection, approximately 3 days since the bees were installed. I use a entrance feeder that uses sugar water in a mason jar that's turned upside down. So this is the first time that we're replacing these. They start out initially kind of slow with their feeding and have since ramped up quite extensively. The blue hive, which from this point forward we'll call Edgar, and if you don't know where Edgar comes from, it's from the Men in Black movie. When Edgar gets inhabited by an alien and he asks for sugar in water. And Edgar Hive loves to drink sugar water. They go through about a quart a day. So I've refilled their feeder and put it back in the entrance, and then I'm just adjusting the entrance reducer as we're still using that currently. So I have edited out the filling of the sugar water for the other hive, and we'll just focus on the hive inspection now. So we take off the outer cover, and then we're going to remove the inner cover. Still trying to figure out the smoke and how much is appropriate. I will tell you that it is pretty good about moving bees away from where you're trying to work, but I would not say that it generally calms them down. Luckily today I was able to have my hive tool. So we're going to add a little bit of smoke, just move them down inside the hive a little bit. When we installed this hive, we put the 5 frames that came with the nuke in the middle and then had 3 frames on one side and 2 frames on the other side. They had not taken a bunch of sugar water, so I kind of anticipated that they had not built a lot of comb yet, which is the primary use of that sugar water. They did have honey and other resources when they came to me, and they've been collecting a lot of pollen. You'll see how I put that metal frame holder on the outside of the hive, and we're going to remove some of the frames that I put in that have zero activity on them. There wasn't much of the propolis, the connective wax holding stuff together, but you still want to open it a little bit. So each frame you take off, if it has bees on it, you want to look for the queen. Even though it seems extremely unlikely that the queen would be on this frame, you just want to make sure before you set it outside of the hive. Here I did not see the queen, but I did slide it over a little bit and left it inside the hive because there was plenty of room to work with the frame that I already taken out. So something I've learned through a couple of hive inspection now is that these gloves are very difficult to manipulate. They're very big and bulky. So it's kind of hard to manipulate the frames in a narrow space. But so you can see this frame is extremely full of bees. It also had a large amount of brood and hatch brood in it. I'm practicing my queen spotting. I'll be honest with you, I've done several hive inspections on this one since then, and I still have not spotted this queen, but I've always seen new capped brood as well as larvae. I still have not seen any eggs, but I've seen cells that have a clear liquid in them that if I had a light and shined it inside, I would assume that I would see an egg inside of that cell. Typically, when I've had time to do my hive inspections, it's been in the mid-afternoon, which is not ideal, and from the sun perspective and also from the bee perspective. Um, so you might notice that I kind of drop it there abruptly and I get my glove caught. And I apologize to the bees for dropping them. They don't like that at all. So we're going to go on and continue to do a hive inspection here. So looking on each frame, trying to make sure you have all the different components. So you want hatch brood, new brood, larva, eggs, pollen, bee bread. If you can, you want to spot your queen. You try not to manipulate the frames too much, trying to hold them still. You want to make sure you put them back the same way you took them out. In general, you want to make sure that they're beside the frame that they come out with. I will do some manipulation of the frames, and we'll talk about that in a future hive inspection, but we won't cover that today. Just drop the frame again if you notice that. As I'm kind of making them mad, I'm going to give them a little bit of smoke, try to calm them down a little bit. So we've moved on to the second hive, and I'm going to do a limited inspection on this one. We've already seen from the other hive that they're, getting plenty of resources, pollen, honey, nectar. So here I'm just going to do a quick inspection, make sure that it looks like a healthy hive, that there's new brood, hatch brood, some larvae. And if I can see all those elements, then I'm comfortable. I'm also working on my queen spotting, and as you'll notice in just a second, as I try to show the camera, I did spot the queen. It had a blue dot on it. And so now that I've spotted the queen, I'm going to put the frame back in. There's definitely larvae and plenty of hatch brood and new brood. So no reason to continue my inspection at this point. So I'll put the other frames back in and close this hive up. This hive is the yellow one, and it will be known as Beyonce. And Beyonce does not eat nearly as much sugar water and is not drawing out comb nearly as fast. Not sure if it's just the hive dynamics or if they just don't have the numbers that Edgar has. But it's still a healthy hive. And honestly, this year we're just trying to make a healthy hive that will hopefully live to come back next year and make honey. So we don't need to collect much honey this year. We might try to take one frame, possibly out of Edgar, I would assume, since it's the more active hive. And that's probably about all we're going to get this year. So we put the inner cover back on, put the outer cover back on, and then I have my rock that I use to make sure the wind doesn't accidentally blow the covers off. I have zero memory of what I said here. I'm quite sure it was exhilarating, informative, entertaining, and I don't remember any of it. So I'm going to ask you to tune back in. I'll have another hive inspection video coming up here in the near future where I actually did record the audio. I checked it already, and so you can follow along with me. In a future one, I think maybe I'll put the GoPro on my chest so you can see a little bit closer in video of that. But if you don't mind, give us a like, give us a share, and give us a subscribe. We'll see you guys later.